Recognizing the challenges of unemployment, poverty and insecurity, Aliko Dangote has advocated supporting existing businesses, particularly manufacturers, to bolster Nigeria's potential for a globally competitive manufacturing sector. However, he stressed the need to re-evaluate the country's industrialization policy. Moreover, Dangote urged Nigeria to implement protective policies that foster the growth of domestic industries into thriving entities capable of generating much-needed jobs and prosperity. I'm now being joined by Mustafa Ewila, estate surveyor and public affairs analyst in this particular discourse. Good morning to you, Mustafa. Thanks for staying with us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let me start with something Dangote said in his keynote speech during the event at the Manufacturers Summit in Abuja. He said something about if you import, let me just paraphrase. If you are so import dependent, that means you are importing poverty, and you're actually importing job losses at the same time, because Nigerians will not really have value to even get the work done here or get more job opportunities. But that's just like a summary of what he just said concerning the issues now. He talked about the interest rate, about 30%, and how it has really stifled business growth and even getting opportunities for young people here in the country, as in job placement, are very difficult. What do you have to say specifically concerning that? You are a businessman.
So absolutely, Aliko Dangote is very correct with his submissions. Aliko Dangote is more like a role model to every business owner, not just in Nigeria, Africa.
Yeah.
And I mean, his statements also just further lays credence to everything was talked about, the new interest rates in the past few weeks. So if a business tycoon like Aliko Dangote is coming up with that opinion, and I think he's just speaking the minds of the other businessmen and manufacturers in Nigeria. Now, we've talked about this interest rate, and we've said that our monetary policy committee, whoever thought about that, reviewing that interest rate upward, made a very wrong move. Now, the new interest rate for 26.25%. Yes, is a lot of frustrations to business owners. We live in a country where business owners are left to do a lot of things by themselves. Manufacturers will manufacture or generate their own power. They will build roads to their own factories. They will pay heavy taxes and still pay huge interest rates on loans to run their businesses. You see, this is not the best time to be alive in Nigeria. As a businessman in Nigeria, that's the honest truth. The policies our government keeps coming up with are policies that are taking us aback as a country and even as business owners. Our unemployment rate right now, as we speak, is put to about 5%. Last quarter of last year, our unemployment rate was about 4.2%. So there is a surge in our unemployment rate due to the fact that business owners are going through a lot of problems running businesses.
Even downsizing.
In the past 2 years, I lost count of how many businesses who have shut down to leave this country, to move to other countries, to start running their businesses. Just a few months ago, we heard about Microsoft shutting down their businesses in Nigeria. Last year, we heard about GSK. So I don't know. So when all these companies that are giving jobs to Nigerian youth leave, what will be left of Nigerians? What is going to be left of Nigeria, even as a country? So we're going to be left with poverty, and when poverty happens, it's going to also surge up our insecurity. Youth will be jobless. They'll start thinking of other ways of survival. The crime rate will increase. So a lot is really wrong with our monetary policy sector, and I think that the CBN needs to do better. If you look at a country right now, top 10 list of richest countries in Africa, Nigeria is not on that list. You will find countries like Mauritius, you find countries like Egypt, you find countries like Algeria, you find countries like Morocco, South Africa. Nigeria is not on the list of top 10 African countries. Nigeria used to be the largest African economy, largest economy in Africa. But right now, we've lost that position to South Africa. Right now, our GDP is about $253 billion. South Africa has a GDP of about almost 477 billion US dollars. Nigeria used to be in that position before. So what is really happening? So a lot of these policies that our government keeps churning out keeps taking us aback as a country. And if somebody like Dangote is voicing out to say, this is killing, Dangote has an employee strength of over 30,000 people. If he ventures to say, you know what, I can't go further, that means 30,000 people will be jobless. So our monetary policy committee needs to do better. We are a country of over 64 years old or thereabout. At this point in our lives, there are certain things that we should have gotten right. If you go to countries like South Africa, the interest rate in South Africa is single digit, about 8.25%, and that's why their GDP is that's why they are doing well right now economically. But in Nigeria, our interest rate is 26.25%. We keep increasing this rate every other month. It's like our monetary policy committee don't have any other thing to do than to keep increasing the interest rate.
A school of thought believes that most times they just try to do copy and paste economic analysis from what they have seen working maybe in other climes, in the Western climes, and they just try to import those policies or textbook approach to us, which has not in any way helped the situation, because over time there's been one increase to the other, in terms of the MPR and everything, and that has not really done any positive adjustment, But the question right now would be, how do we begin to support the manufacturer and the local players to ensure that our local content, are put to the world map? Because as it is right now, he talked about Nigeria, always important, and because of the issues we have, we cannot even think out of the box to even export, because we've not been able to meet our local needs, because we can't even do businesses here, not to talk of branching out internationally. So what should we be doing in the immediacy?
So it's not so of a bad thing to even do copy and paste. That's if you're copying from the right.
If it works for them, then we don't have the same situation.
So my point is, we take these advanced countries as a template to a lot of policies that we make in Nigeria. The Bank of England currently, their interest rate for a while now has been about 5.25%. Go to America, their interest rate is also about 5.25%. The country that has one of the highest interest rates in Africa is Ghana. So, and that is also telling off on Ghana. What's Ghana doing? How are they doing? They're not also doing good also. Their interest is about 29%. So if you look at all those countries that has high interest rate, they are not doing well. So if you really want to take a tour or follow a queue, you should look at countries like Switzerland. They have one of the lowest interest rates. America also has one of the, so right now, America right now is one of the largest countries that has the best, that is doing well economically in the world right now, with a GDP of about 27 trillion US dollars, followed by countries like there's the other country also doing about 17,000 US dollars. So now my submission is that our manufacturers right now, a lot of manufacturers right now are frustrated in Nigeria because of these policies. We don't manufacture in Nigeria. That's no news anymore. Yes. We import almost everything we use as builders, as manufacturers. We import almost everything, and that's because the cost of running a business is very, very frustrating in Nigeria. Now, if we don't get it right with these new interest rates, we'll continue to frustrate many other businesses out of the system, and it will continue to lead to job loss. Now, so my honest truth, if we really want to get it right, our MPC, CBN needs to come back to a roundtable and review that interest rate backward. We don't have any issues. Nigeria is a blessed country. We have been around for a while. There's been so much happening in our monetary system policy. There's been so much happening in the manufacturing industry. But I also do think that the president of this country needs to come up and make sure that things don't go wrong like this, because we will get it wrong. Okay. Now, if you look at what has happened in the past 2 months, our interest rate has been increased, our inflation rate has been increased, manufacturers are complaining, builders are complaining, cost of running businesses is not so friendly, and something has to be done quickly.
Okay, but if you look at it really, before I talk about recent development, if you look at it critically over time, a school of thought believes that most of these issues are not that are plaguing our economy, are institutional, because we've tried to tackle the fiscal and monetary policy, yet they are not working. Ordinarily, if you raise interest rate, money in circulation will reduce, and then somehow inflation would also reduce. But a school of thought believes that if we tackle some of these institutional systemic issues we have, like addressing the issue of insecurity, addressing the issues of food insecurity, food supply in the country, that way, if all those things are stemmed in the bud, farmers should be able to go back to work, and there will be food security, and Nigerians can actually buy food at normal cost, not like the escalated price of over 300%. And somehow, it will have like a ripple effect on the economy. Do you agree?
So I strongly agree with that. We cannot, once we get it wrong, once we miss the roadmap to job creation, it's very, very impossible for us to tackle insecurity. If people are jobless, they're going to become vices to different crimes. An idle man is the devil's workshop.
Yes, sir.
We keep churning out graduates every other time. But where are the jobs for them to do? That's why most of our graduates today have become content creators online, churning out irrelevant content, sending out wrong messages and all that. That's because there's no job. Nigeria is a country of over 220 million people. South Africa is a country of about 59 million people. Mauritius is a country of about 1.3 million people. Mauritius right now is one of the leading top richest African country right now. You will find countries like Egypt there, you find countries like Morocco, Botswana, Libya. These are countries that have less people, and they're small islands doing so well. Nigeria, we have all the resources, we have the land, we have the human capacity in terms of numbers, and we're not doing. I have been to countries, I have been to Kenya, Rwanda. These countries have 24 hours power. For us to tackle these issues systematically, we must. That's why Dangote is saying, no power, no growth, no prosperity. A country that has no power will not grow, and there won't be prosperity.
True.
Countries where we still, after many years of independence, we still struggle to have common 24 hours power. It is only Nigeria that I know that has that discrimination of band A, band B, band C. Every country that I've traveled to in my life has 24 hours power, and there's no discrimination for whether to have the high income earners on band A, the low income earners on. That's not. I've never heard that in my entire life. Once there's power, everybody has access to it, provided that you can vend, pay as you go. So the whole idea of having band A, band, for me, is total discrimination. I think should be stopped. Right now, we should have uninterrupted power system in our country as we speak today. But I think deliberately that area is also being scuffled. But that's one of the root causes of where we are today. Manufacturers cannot survive. Go to all the industrial areas around Lagos. A lot of them have abandoned their factories. They can no longer continue to produce because of the cost of production is killing. Bank loans, as high as over 30%, and that's why you have somebody like Dangote who is crying out to say, this is not sustainable.
All right. So as we begin to round off the discourse now, recently, aside from the issue of interest rate, businesses have complained about taxation over time and how it has impacted on their businesses, both manufacturers, both farmers, both even people in the real estate spheres like you, and other business sectors. Now, but from what we hear, the federal government is exempting some sort of tax. That's the withholding tax for farmers, for manufacturers, I think small and medium enterprises. So in as much as we're still trying to tackle the issue of interest rate, how far do you think this exemption for taxes for this set of businesses would actually impact on the economy?
So I think that's a good step in the right direction. If they're giving them this exemption for them to have this leverage, not to. So for me, we always and we must continue to look for ways to create an enabling environment for our manufacturers. Those in the agricultural sector right now are trying to do so well to see how we can salvage a lot of situations in the agricultural sector. In the past few years, that sector has been looked away from, and look at what has happened in the past few months. Cost of food items has increased, and for us to reduce that cost of food items, we need to make an enabling environment for those people in those sectors, so that the burden wouldn't be too much on them to carry. They are experiencing so much already in terms of funding. They are experiencing so much already in terms of other security issues. So for the government to come up with that idea, I think is a good step, and I think it will make life, somewhat easy for them.
Okay, so let's specifically address the real estate sector, which has always been seen as a very thriving sector, that you can even use to buffer inflation and all of that. But in all of this, I want you to maybe walk me through how this interest rate has impacted directly on the real estate segment, once again.
Okay, so the interest rates, the new interest rate from the Apex Bank, the CBN, and also the rate of inflation right now. Oh, yes, so the question is, as real estate practitioners, are we also, feeling the pinch? Yes, we're also feeling it, because now the purchasing power of clients has, have drastically reduced. If you go around the whole of the island right now, you see a lot of properties put up for sale. Some are even up for rent. It's difficult to even get it to people to rent it. It's difficult to get buyers, because right now everybody's trying to adjust to the new issue of the new interest rates. Even to get loans from banks to buy properties right now is a problem. Banks are even, both by microfinance, the mortgage banks, a lot of them are even scared of giving out loans, because we talked about it, non-performing loans last week.
Yes,
so these are issues. So if you give out loans right now for people, how are you sure that you get back your money? We said last week that our non-performing loans right now with the SMEs is close to about 1.32 trillion. Those are issues. So that means some banks right now are suffering because it is difficult for them to recover loans. So right now, so the real estate sector also is affected. Purchasing power of clients have reduced. In the past few months, I don't think I've sold any property this year as a real estate person, and it just goes to show that everybody's feeling that blow, and I think that something has to be done. That interest rate has to be reduced. Our inflation rate also has to come back to what it used to be. Right now, our inflation rate is almost about 30%.
Yes, it is.
Cost of building materials have increased. Cost of paying for services have increased. So it's just trickling down, and I think something has to be done.
All right, something really has to be done as soon as not, so that our businesses can actually survive, and Nigerians can get gainful employment. So the issues of insecurity and youth restiveness can be addressed big time, because if we don't tackle all of this, our economy will suffer. When all the manufacturers and local players leave the country for other countries where they can get ease of doing businesses, we are the ones that suffer. At the end of the day, we keep on importing and we keep on spending so much of our scarce forex. Thank you so much, Mustafa Iwenla, for your time and the insight that you have brought on the show. Well, that's the size of the show for today. I have been speaking with Mustafa Iwenla. He's an estate surveyor and a public affairs analyst, and we have been looking at the issue of interest rate and its impact on the business climbs in Nigeria, and of course how it's impacted on employment and unemployment specifically in our country. My name is Justin Akademi. Many thanks for being a part of the show. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.